Hi and welcome to my Championship Manager, or Football Manager should I say, save. Just here really to talk about a tactic which I've come across, which I actually love, which I stumbled across really due to injuries to my right hand side. So I'm Arsenal, and I will take you through the seasons, but first off, this is the actual fixture, or the tactic with. So the idea is you have a goalkeeper, you have your back four, and your right wing back is a complete wing back. I adopted this from when Arsenal were good. I'm a massive Arsenal fan. And when Arsenal were good, we had Ashley Cole, if you remember, bombing down the left hand side, and we've kind of got that now in the opposite with Hector Bellerin. So this is his understudy, which is Gedson Fernandes. He's actually a central midfielder who I'm redeveloping, because I think he's got all the skills to be a complete wing back. If we go, if you look at his complete wing back attributes there, you'll see that he's got all the right attributes and they're all going in the right direction to be a right wing back. So that's where I'm training him to play. We've got Mustafi, who's playing second fiddle. I'll go through my transfers a little bit later on. And we've got Gianluca Itta, who's my left wing back. Again, he's another player that I signed to play left wing back. He hasn't developed as I'd hoped, and it might be that we have to sort of move him on. In the middle, we've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Jack Wilshere. Again, this is not my first team. Our next game is against Cardiff. I thought it would be a good opportunity to show us what this tactic can do. So we're playing Cardiff at the bottom of the table, I believe. There. So we've got Mesut Ozil, who I am playing, and Alex Lacazette. Those are the only two of like the real first teamers, or the real first choice. And I guess you've got to have a bit of quality up there. And then you've got Pellegrini, who's a player I signed. The strength of this, like I said, is that we seem to be relatively strong in midfield, particularly when we've got Diawara, another one of my signings, and Aaron Ramsey in the middle. Mesut Ozil sort of, if you like, creating chances. With Jeff Rain Adelaide, that's sometimes Alex Iwobi. It's usually Alex Iwobi cutting in from the left wing and more or less being like another striker. So it's almost like having three up front. And then we've got Pellegrini, is another one of my signings, and Alex Lacazette, who because he's in the complete forward, but he's also in the support. He does actually drop into these bottom areas, and you'll see it hopefully during the upcoming match. So yeah, that's it. I start off with a standard mentality. I usually go to control if it's going well. We'll stick with standard, and depending upon who I have as the actual advanced forward, if it's Pellegrini or if it's Eddie Nketiah. Pellegrini is amazing in the air with his heading ability. All right, 13, but for a 17-year-old, it's not bad, and jumping reach of 16. So I say to whip crosses while he's up front. When I've got Nketiah, he's not very good in the air. You'll notice his heading ability is 8 and his jumping reach is 7, which is poor. So of course that would change to low crosses. I'll take you through very briefly what we've done so far. So I guess it's transfers is probably the best place to start. And that is that we have worked at a profit all the time. So we started off, and as I said, I needed a left back. I brought in Gianluca Itta. I wasn't happy with either the left back or backup right back, so I brought in Gianluca Itta, and he meant that we could sell on Nacho Monreal, which you'll see somewhere down here that I sold on. There you go. I actually sold him in January, but we still got Kolasinac. I sold Theo Walcott, and I bought in Riyad Mahrez because I thought we could do with strengthening down the right. I'm probably going to move Riyad Mahrez on, just because of this new tactic, and I'm playing Lacazette up front and having 3 up front. I've got Reece Nelson who's coming through the ranks, and I'd rather concentrate on developing him. And I paid 40 million for Riyad Mahrez. If I can recoup what I bought him for, I think maybe that's, that'll do for me. And then Raukovic is a goalkeeper. Czech's obviously getting on, and I've sold him recently, but he's worth 18.75 now. I think I bought him for about 8 at the time. I think it was. There you go, 8 million I bought him for. Czech's already tutored him, and so He's now our first choice keeper. This Diawara is an absolute beast. We signed him from Napoli, and he is an absolute destroyer. Fortunately, I signed him for a longer-term contract, and I actually gave him at the beginning of this year another contract. So he keeps asking me for an updated contract because he's only on 90,000 a week, and I keep saying to him, "Listen, you've got more time on your contract, so and he's happy with that so far." But you'll see his physical stats are absolutely amazing. So he's a real beast to have in the middle of the park, and a real good player to have, especially for the amount. He's worth 53 million now. And you can see his potential ability there and his current ability there. So he really does run the midfield. Probably the closest thing that Arsenal have had to Patrick Vieira since he went, apart from Gilberto Silva. Gedson Fernandes is a wonder kid. He's technically a midfielder, but as I said earlier, I'm retraining him to be a right back, which is going well. And he will be playing at right back today rather than Hector Bellerin. And so that kind of, at the time, I felt like my squad was strong. And then I brought in this player who was a young, I think at the time was about 18 years old, 19 years old. He's 20 now. Centre-back, capped at under 19 level. And I played him, considering I bought him in the January transfer window. I played him 11 times in between January and the end of the season. He just didn't really kick on. So I put him out on loan, and I'm sorry to say that he's not really developing again. So it's a shame. I'll keep hold of him as backup, but really I think his days are numbered, certainly his first team appearances. If we look at who we sold Mohamed El-Neni, Ospina. Alexis was obviously in the last year of his contract, so I sold him for as much as I could get, which of course I got 63 million. Theo, like I said, I sold on to Leicester. It wasn't a dual deal between Theo and Mahrez. They were two completely separate deals. But nevertheless, they went each way. Nacho Monreal, I said, and these are just minimal fees here. So total amount spent was 132, total amount in was 143, and that's where we're at. If we come into this season, which is the season I'm currently in, I knew that Koscielny's getting older. I signed like a beastly centre-back with Jose Jimenez, who's been absolutely brilliant for us. If you check his stats, 16 games. Assists don't really matter to me for centre-backs, but average rating of 7.2. He's been doing a good job. And another goalkeeper now that Petr Cech's getting on. I've actually sold him in this January transfer window because he kept moaning about first team chances, and that's because I'm trying to give two younger players an opportunity. So I told him it's probably best he goes elsewhere, and if he wants to play, that's fine, but it won't be at Arsenal. So sad, but nevertheless, yeah. So these are our two main goalkeepers, and then a striker here who is very different to Eddie Nketiah, but nevertheless worth every penny. His heading ability is good, his jumping reach is good, he's got relatively good physical, and he's known as a target man in this game. I'm retraining him to be a complete forward, but he's also, I'm playing him more at the moment as an advanced forward in this new tactic I'm trying out. But you can see he's developing very well indeed. He's going to lead the line for us today with Lacazette just in that right-hand side. And a lot of outgoing. So Giroud, obviously, with all these strikers coming in, I had to say goodbye. Danny Welbeck for 32 million. I'm not sure how I did it because he barely played last season as well. So how I got that amount of money for him. He played 12 games for us, 2 goals, 6 assists. Because obviously I was playing him in that Radamateur role. Before this new tactic, I just had it as an inside forward on the right, and that Radamateur. Because when I first set up, that was going to be Alexis Sanchez coming in, and obviously we had to get rid of him. He was in the last year of his contract, and therefore that's when we brought in Iwobi, and of course the Jeff has come back from loan and replaced Danny Welbeck, who's been sold. Francis Coquelin for 20 million. Again, he wasn't getting game time. Lucas came back from loan, and I sold him to 30 million for 30 million to Inter. Martinez was a funny deal that came at the end, and Petr Cech there, who I sold. Sorry, my box is in the way. I need to move that actually. But I sold him for 2.3 recently, 31st of Jan. There you go, so not long ago at all. So that's the team. The only other, I guess, thing to keep you abreast of here is that as well as Peleo Suarez, I couldn't promise Rob Holding the game time, so I've sent him out on loan. He's at Nancy, and I think doing all right. So that's good. Yeah, doing all right. Where are they in the league? 10th. Okay. And the only other player we've got out on loan was a product of our youth system, which is Jack Shaw. And I've put him out on loan now because I just can't give him the game time. We're already struggling to fit everyone in. But you'll see here, he's been tutored by Mesut Ozil. He could potentially be, one of the most gifted. So that's where he's at there. But I had to put him out on loan because I just can't give him the game time. If you look at my squad in the current appearances, Jack Shaw, I've sent him out on loan in January, obviously. But like Riyad Mahrez, I'm going to sell him because he's not getting the game time now that I'm playing 3 up front. Jack Wilshere, 14 and 8. The keeper, I call him Hunter Gatherer. I know it's not his name, but and there you go. The first choice keeper, Rijatovic, now that Czech's been sold. So those two. Callum Chambers isn't getting game time, so he's getting a game against bottom league Cardiff. Nketiah as well. And Pellegrini, these two are kind of swapping, and obviously Laka is the main cog of this attacking. Mesut Ozil isn't getting the game time, which you'll be surprised about, but again, to balance out, sometimes I put 3 in midfield. This season's all about giving players game time. You look at Reece Nelson here, and he is playing on the right. He's only had 18 games. Kolasinac, Aaron Ramsey, who's the heartbeat of my midfield. I'm just making sure that everyone's getting games and getting a chance to prove themselves. So that's really where we are. So without further ado, I'm going to go into the game. I don't think there's any changes I need to make. I'm pretty sure I did them before I cut through. So yeah, this is what we're going to start with. The young goalkeeper, Hunter Gatherer, in goal. Fernandez on the right back position instead of Hector Bellerin. Mustafi, Chambers and Ita complete the defence. So yeah, Fernandez is going to be a massive part of this right wing. Wilshere playing in a box-to-box midfielder rather than Ramsey. And Maitland-Niles, who I'm actually training to be a box-to-box midfielder. But again, it's about giving him game time, and he hasn't played in a while, so I'm putting him in there in the defensive role, so together they can rule. Usually, in a game such as Spurs or something like that, then it would be Diawara and it would be Aaron Ramsey in the middle there. Mesut Ozil starts to give us a bit of impetus up front, and Lacazette really is, I think, what makes this work, this tactic, because he's in such good form at the moment. Pellegrini as the advance forward, and as I said, if we need to chase the game, then we can change to a 4-2-1-3 and stick Nketiah up front, Pellegrini at the back post, and Nketiah in the middle. And that's because when the ball's coming from the right, they tend to be hitting the back post. And either Rain Adelaide or Iwobi tends to be knocking them in, which is why I will put Pellegrini at the back post if it comes to it, if we need to have 3 up front. So let's go into the game. Liverpool beats Spurs, so that's good to see. And yeah, let's go for it. So are you ready to proceed to match? Yes. Let's go. So I've gone for like the 3D visual match up as well, which I do like. I am a fan of the 2D and then 3D for replays, but I think this looks a little bit better while I'm doing a video. So we'll talk to the team. I'm going to be a bit demanding of them. I don't like saying we should be winning without any chance, because I think it shows, really it's a bit arrogant, and it encourages complacency. So I'm going to say, I fully expect you to keep our run going. So I'm going to be demanding of them and tell them I expect you to keep. And that did absolutely nothing. So I'm going to tell the defence that I have faith in them. That's better. Midfield, I want to control. I want you to control the midfield out there. And I'm going to tell the attackers that I want them to relax and just play their natural game. And the idea of that is that they should be just playing their natural game. So let's go with this game. So like I said, I start off with standard mentality, and I do in every single game I play. And the idea of that, so far they've fouled once. We are dominating possession. Had a shot, one on target, so that's good. No highlights yet, but it looks like we've, I don't know. So there we go, here's the first highlight. It's Jack Wilshere. Headed out, Staffy needs to make that, and they look like they're going to try and counter-attack us. And we've completely missed that tackle there. And come on, Arsenal winners. Skews wide. A bit of a warning shot there, considering I was about to go into control mentality, but what we're on 3. And here's another highlight. So the first half, I don't know if many people make that many changes in the first half. I personally don't, unless something needs to be done, like if it's desperate. But certainly in a game like this, there's nothing that needs to be changed. We're 16 minutes in. Jack Wilshere. I think sometimes as well you can tinker with things too much. Jeff Rain, Adelaide. Great ball out to the right back, which I said is where our strength is. The ball comes in and they get it out. And I guess this is where like the quality of the crosses matters, and I know that that's something which Fernandez has got to work in. And Cardiff get the ball clear. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles wins it back emphatically. And Jack here just strolling with the ball. He's looking to play that, spray it out wide. There we go. Laka comes deep to get it. He brings it into Ozil. Ozil plays it inside Jeff, and it's 1-0. So that's what I'm saying about Jeff Rain, Adelaide, or the Radamateur actually cutting inside and being like a third striker. That's kind of what I was getting at there, is that if you look at from here, Lacazette, who's our right forward really, Ozil here picking it up, and he plays that ball inside, and Jeff's starting position was alongside actually our centre forward. So it's almost like having a third striker. And that was lovely. It's a good example of kind of how the whole formation comes together there. Which is nice to see. So this is Cardiff on the attack. Ball comes in. Can't really see the ball. Where is it? Right. Okay. So it's been headed out. Ball back in. Out we go. Jeff picks it up. He spanks it forward. Who's that? Ozil. Ozil out there. So he needs. Looks like there's someone in the middle. Is it Laka? So Laka's in the middle. He picks it up. It's poorly hit cross, and then Laka loses it. Disappointing. Mustafi then picks the ball back up. Ozil now. Oh, look at him. And then this is the right back getting the ball in. I really want to see. There you go, Jeff. 2-0. You know, I guess having Bellerin at right back, we've been spoilt, and I've always said it's more down to the pace. But I think also his crossing. If you can get someone playing in that complete wing back role, that's a really competent crosser, I think you'll see it more. I mean, the second attempt was good, and again, Jeff Rain, Adelaide basically playing as another centre forward and being right where it matters and hitting them where it hurts. So that's good to see. And look, I know this is bottom of the table, but the idea of it was to show you what the tactic can do. And look, we have fielded a completely second strength 11, apart from Lacazette. So probably what I will do in the second half is take off Lacazette and take off Mesut, because on my next game is a Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League first knockout stage, I believe. So no injuries needed there. Win it back again. Mustafi plays it out wide to Jeff Rain, Adelaide. He's having the game of his life. Ball forward. Pellegrini is not the quickest, manages to get on the end of it. He cross squares it, and then Lacazette is 3. It's 3. But you're beginning to see now how they just can't deal with it. And look, this is not specific to Cardiff, who, by all accounts, look dreadful. This is more or less every game I play. I mean, I try and play the balanced 4-2-3-1 to begin with, to give Reece Nelson a start and develop him. on the right there, but then quite often it ends up having this Lacazette down the right as the right forward. What I'm actually going to do is, because I'm training both Pellegrini and Nketiah to be central strikers, I think what I'm actually going to do next is take Lacazette off and rest him ready for the Paris Saint-Germain game. Take off Mesut Ozil as well and bring on Granit Xhaka, and actually play Granit Xhaka in the defensive midfield role, because we've got 3 goals, we don't need any more, and we don't need to push for any more. It's not what we need to do. Dominating the game as it is. So, team talk. Tell them very pleased. Keep it going. Good. Everyone looks delighted and happy, so that's good. And then we'll go again. And on about 55 minutes, I'll start to ring the changes. Give them a little bit of a second half run out. Jeff Rain Adelaide is playing brilliantly, so I won't be taking him off. And because of that, I won't be doing the 3-pronged attack. 1, because I don't need to. And 2, it seems really unfair to take Jeff off when he's playing as well as what he is. So we'll leave him on. So 55, and first thing we do is take Alexander Lacazette off to a standing ovation, I'm sure, from the Arsenal faithful, and put Eddie Nketiah there. Now, bearing in mind that you're expected to do more running, I think it makes sense for Eddie Nketiah to be out on the right. His vision, though, is only 10 and passing 10 and crossing 9. If I compare that to Pellegrini, whose vision is 12, passing is 11, crossing is 9, it's just not as quick. I'll keep it so that Pellegrini is the complete forward, and that Nketiah gets a run in the centre. I'll change the crosses to be low crosses, because obviously Nketiah can't head the ball for toffee in this game. Whether he can in real life, I don't know, but his heading ability in this is jumping reach of 7, heading of 8. So take him off. So those are the 2. So that was Laka. Right, we'll take Mesut off as well. And I said that I would do it for Granit Xhaka. And what we're going to do is now play Xhaka in a ball-winning midfielder defend role. And then Fernandes, Mustafi, Chambers, and Ita. Ita's got booked, so that's great to see as always. And we'll keep that for now. I've covered up my buttons, but I think that's confirmed. No, that's opposition instructions. God, they've got really bad discipline. That's not much. And then we want to somehow confirm. Is that confirm changes? Really need to move my head from down there. Right, so that's probably going to take us back. Right, so that'll be opposition instructions. That'll be confirm changes. Good, and then we'll continue. So my changes haven't been put into play here, and Jeff Rain Adelaide flashed it wide. So we've made the subs now. Gianluca Ita with a throw. Rain Adelaide. Mustafi back out to the Jeff. Xhaka in that deeper role. Jack sprays it out wide to Gedson Fernandes. Crossing ability, low cross, much better. Nketiah, like I said, low cross because he can't head for toffee. Gets on the end. It's that 4-0, game over, 60 minutes gone. What you've got to remember is this is not my first strength squad. This is my second string in a Premier League game against bottom of the table, but nevertheless they are a Premiership squad, and we're absolutely battering them. If you look at those stats, we're absolutely battering them. Not just with 4 breakaway smash and grab goals, or playing on the counter attack. We're dominating the game and we're winning, basically, which is great to see. So I guess my work here is done. I might make who's just got injured. Oh, goodness sake. So Granit Xhaka gets injured, and so we put in Diawara. Which is a blow. To be brutally honest, it's a blow. Hopefully he's not out for too long, Xhaka. We're coming into that sort of the season when you need those extra bodies in midfield, and straight away they look like a long throw that we rode our luck a little by the looks of things. So here's Pellegrini playing as the complete forward. He plays it out to Gedson, and I guess one of my fears with this tactic is that if Lacazette does get injured, that it makes the whole thing useless. Without Lacazette or Bellerin. So playing this as it is currently with this tactic and this formation, but also this selection of players, with Pellegrini as the complete forward, just giving me a little bit of faith that actually the game, if Lacazette gets injured, that the game's not up. If Bellerin gets injured, the game's not up. We're very reliant down that right hand side, and I should imagine eventually it will fall away. And nothing's happening now though. 89, 90, 91, and 92. Ball in from Jack. Out you go. Gedson. He's also had a very good game. He's seen a lot of the. Well, I don't know what that was, but Jesus, but seen a lot of the ball Gedson as well. So I'd be interested to see his rating, but he seems to have been involved in everything. So stats: 18 shots, 11 shots on target. They fouled us to hell. We had the lion's share of the possession, but to be honest, we didn't dominate it as much. If we look at the analysis, what I want to see, heat map, you can see that we tend to be going down the right more, don't we? Jeff was the best, struggled to perform. I'm not surprised he barely had any time on the pitch. He only came on because of an injury. So I'm not too fussed by that. If we look at the Arsenal stats, which is a really good, I do like this. How did Gedson Fernandes do? So passing was only 75%, which surprises me. Crosses 20%, so that's definitely an area that maybe we can get him to work on. Mesut Ozil seems to do all right, but as a team, our crosses are not great. The only Pellegrini, apparently, with his 9 in crossing, I think it was, seems to do all right. But yeah, other than that, what else can we look at? Because I thought we did Arsenal stats. I wanted to see like average position. Can we do that? And now to go back now. Great. Okay. Anyway, match report. Okay. Is there a back to match button? Good. So that's the analysis. Let's look at team analysis. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking at. Average positions will be really interesting. Because that's the Jeff. That's Laka. And this here is Nketiah, obviously with the subs and stuff. So if we looked in just the first half, because that's obviously when we didn't make any. So let's do first half. select what players. So we only want there we go. Average position. So we want to see, first off, you started, you were man of the match, you were playing centre right, you were playing complete wing back, you were playing like left back but just wing back instead of complete. So you see, I would have thought he would have been sat deeper as an average position, but never mind. Measure to see where he was, which is interesting because he sort of drifts. But then when we brought Nicotia on, see where his average was as well. Yeah, you see. So that Nicotia and of course Pellegrini, for the majority of the game, they were almost sharing the same spot because Pellegrini went in there. So you can see though just how Jeff Rain Adelaide there is almost another striker. That's what I was trying to get at. Anyway, yeah, great performance. Well done, lads. Away the lads, as they say in, or away the boys, as they say in. Let's go. So yeah, I hope that's useful. I think it's a good tactic. So a good win, boys. For a second string to pull out a 4-0 win in a Premier League game, anything, is a good result in my opinion. So I'm pleased. And how long is Granit Xhaka out for? 2 weeks. Rain Adelaide's good. 29 games unbeaten, and I do usually go with the balanced 4-2-3-1 of this. And then switch into this if we're chasing or you know, because I like to play Reece Nelson still, and I think it's good to have obviously other opportunities. And then of course you've got the striker there. But to go through it, goalkeeper and defend, complete wing back and attack, 2 centre backs with defensive. I like to have one as can mark opponent tightly and one which dives into tackles, which was another reason why I bought this, the beast of a centre-back, where is he? Jimenez, because he dives into tackles, and when you partner him, the long-term plan is to partner him with Mustafi, who marks opponent tightly, and the two will work well together. But at the moment he's playing next to Koscielny just for this season, and Ita as a wing-back support, which is why I thought he would sit deeper than a complete wing-back attack, but anyway. A central midfielder and defence next to a box-to-box midfielder support, so it's a fairly balanced midfield. This is a little bit like in the Arsenal Invincibles, when you had like a Gilberto Silva playing in the Maitland-Niles role, and then you had, say, in the later years it was Cesc Fabregas. Of course, you had the Vieira and Petit as well. So Petit was more the complete midfielder defend, and Vieira was the more box to box in that situation. It's kind of a pairing that we've always had. Gilberto was the last sort of complete midfielder defend that we had, but and then the wingers there. I guess you could argue Lacazette playing as a complete forward support is a bit like how Overmars played for Arsenal in 1998, couldn't you? That he sort of played. It was inverted, so we had it would have been Winterburn back in 1998, but we had later on we had Ashley Cole, and then we had Bobby Pires sort of cutting on the inside, and then of course. So it's sort of like a mirror image a little bit that I've copied of the Arsenal Invincibles, which is just with a few players a little bit more advanced than what they were. So yeah, that's that. I hope it helps. Thanks very much.